I know, y'all. It can be really overwhelming when you are trying to figure out how to create this thing. You got it in your head. It's an idea and you're trying to figure out how to take it from idea to reality. And so today we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is product creation, y'all. So let's get into this. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatiana and I am the owner of the Stationery Muse, and I love to inspire women to go for what they want in their lives. And in today's video, we are going to be talking all about product creation, which is one of my favorite topics because it's really the creative aspect of everything. And so I'm really excited to share with you my 6 P's of product creation. And really quickly, just to let you guys know, I love to give y'all a good freebie, a good download. So make sure you click the link down below. I actually have a little mini product creation planner. If you want to follow along with me, you can print it out, fill it out, and really apply it to the product that you're trying to create. But let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first P is to probe and calculate. And this is really where you're going to start to really do all of the research phase. I feel like I always say everything starts with a really good brain dump, first of all. So within this process, this is the time for you to really kind of get a feel for what's already out there. What is this thing that you're going to be making? What's the name of it specifically? I remember, if I want to use an example of my business planner, I knew that I wanted to give it a specific name. I knew that I didn't just want to call it the Stationery Muse Business Planner, even though that was almost what it was called because I couldn't think of anything. And then I ended up going with my tagline, which is Live, Love, Inspire, because it just really fit with the overall mission of my business and what I really wanted the planner to be like for the people that were using it. And so I ended up calling it the Live, Love, Inspire Business Planner. And so not everything has to have a super official name, but even if you're creating your very first sticker kit, you might want to name it something fun. If you're doing your very first sub box, you might want to give that theme some type of name or something that people can associate it with. So really think about, what do you want to call it within this probe and calculate phase? And so this is also going to be a great time for you to do the research as well, to figure out who are the key players involved within the creation of this product. So really think about, what are the companies that you're going to be using to make this happen. I know for me, with my planner, I decided to go with a local printer here within the Albuquerque area, mainly because I wanted to be able to physically touch the stuff that I was going to be putting into the planner. I wanted to be able to have a quick way to interact with them, a quicker turnaround time, knowing it was local. That may not always be the case, and a lot of products, actually pretty much all of them within my shop that I do outsource, are not here. But for this particular product, I decided to take that route. But you can also do all of the things in-house as well. Y'all know I'm really big on doing things yourself, but it does sometimes come with a cost of time as well as money. And so you really have to kind of think about, and I'm going to ask you this question as well, is and I'm going to get into this a little bit more into this little mini series. I'm kind of walking you guys through some of these just different product things that I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks. But the main question I want to ask you, just kind of start getting it in your head, is, do you actually want to make this thing yourself? And so, like, if you've been following me on this channel, I know I make it super exciting and interesting to want to make things yourself and do it hands-on and eliminate the middleman and all that stuff. But the reality is, as your business starts to grow and things pick up, it gets a lot harder to do all of those little individual things yourself, because it starts to become a lot. And so that's something that I've run into with my business, especially over the last year. It's definitely still manageable for me, but it's definitely getting to a point where I'm like, okay, maybe I won't be able to do so many handmade things. I might need to outsource some stuff. And so that was why I decided to actually outsource the pages of my planner, and then I did the rest of the binding and the covers and all of that stuff. So really ask yourself, is this something I really want to do myself? And if not, who's going to be involved to help me make this thing come to life? Are they going to make the whole thing for you, or are you going to kind of need bits and pieces to help your thing come to life and make it happen? So that's really a question you want to ask within that probe stage. And as you are starting to do that research, make sure you're calculating everything. So if you're getting quotes back from people, if they're telling you how much it's going to cost to get something binded or something cut or something printed or whatever the case is, calculate up all of those costs so that you can start to get an overall feel for how much this is going to be costing you if this is going to be a regular product that you're carrying. So then we move on to the second P, which is planning and design. And so I absolutely love this phase because this is really where it gets creative. So after you've kind of figured out, okay, I know what I want to do, I know what it's called, I know the people that are involved with this process, whether it's me, whether it's a manufacturer, whatever the case may be, now I'm going to start planning this out, and I'm going going to actually design it. And so planning really has a lot to do with, especially if you're going to be doing some kind of longer form release. So I know people have reached out to me before and they said they're doing like a guided journal, for example. So when you're thinking about like one of these longer form type of journals, for example, so if you've already decided, let's just say for example, you've decided you are going to make it yourself. So you figured out what equipment and things you need during that calculation portion of things. You figured out how much your spirals are going to be, or whatever type of binder you're going with, the paper you're going to be using, the printing and all that stuff. You want to get all of those things together and figure out how much the actual costs are going to be. And once you've decided if you're making it, someone else making it, or if it's a combination of both, then you can really plan it out. And so with a lot of those different guided journals, let's just use if it's a self-care journal, for example, and there's a whole maybe like introductory section in the beginning and it's kind of walking you through how to use the journal, and then maybe it moves into some different prompts for people to do every day. Then maybe there's some note pages in there with lines, and then maybe there's some pages to like do bullet journaling or whatever the case is. So envision your product in your head when you start to think about it. I highly recommend in this phase to really get creative, sketch it out, get out a pen and a paper and literally just draw out the layout of what you're thinking you want it to look like. I remember when I first made the Live, Love, Inspire business planner, that was what I did. I literally was like, okay, I have an idea in my head. I kind of know what I want to do. Let me just play around with this design, this layout, see how it can work. Let me cut. I would literally take like pieces of paper and I would cut it down and play around with different sizes, and I would like redraw it on the paper to see if I liked it. And y'all know I'm really into using like Adobe programs and things, but I feel like there's nothing like just being able to draw something out in front of you and really get a feel for what it is that you're trying to do. Then you can take it to the program, because it just makes it so much easier versus you trying to create it on the program. And I know everybody's creative process is differently, but I highly suggest sketching it out. Let's say if you're trying to create a sticker kit for the first time and you're trying to figure that out, kind of the same deal. If you're planning out how you want your kits to be laid out, literally cut out pieces of paper that are to the size you're thinking you want your kits to be. I'm just gonna say 4x6. I know that can be a standard size for a lot of shops. And let's just say you cut it down, you're like, okay, I want my logo to go here, and then I'm gonna kind of have like this section will be deco, and then this page is gonna be whatever the case is. Sketch it out, you know, figure out what you want it to look like, and then that way you can kind of make adjustments before you move on to something that might feel a little more serious, which is more of the design aspect. And so even if you're not going to be designing it, I still think this is a crucial part, because you want something to be as close as possible to what you want it to look like. So even if you don't feel like you have any artistic ability, which I feel like you do if you have any inkling of wanting to do something like this, but even if you don't, just doing your best to kind of get it out of your head, jotting things down, creating an outline of what you think the pages should be, like what's going to be the first page, okay, what do you want to be in the middle of this thing, and so on. All of these things will not only help you get organized, but it'll really start to make it more of a bigger picture, or a better picture of how you want this product to actually look. And so this is all part of that, and within the design phase as well. So if you do decide to work with a designer, which I think regardless of, even if you don't make this product, one of my #1 recommendations to any small business owner is to learn graphic design. Even if it is just a very basic thing where you can get on Canva, you can make graphics, whatever the case may be. If you take a quick little graphic design course just to learn about it, I think it's just really going to save you in the long run, to allow for you to do things quicker, not have to wait on someone else to make it for you. And especially if you're able to make your product yourself, and if you want to make quick changes to it, if you want to do different things, again, it kind of gives you that freedom and flexibility to not have to wait. But I also understand if you do want to work with a designer. And so all of those things kind of happen within those first 2 stages of really trying to figure this out. And so from there, it's important to get a sample. So you want to, you know, get everything finalized, figure it out, and create a sample. So when I did the planner, I actually made my handmade sample. I knew that there were some specs and things I still wasn't 100% sure on, but I just needed to see it. I needed to be able to hold it in my hand. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I know there are some things I'm not quite sure on yet. I printed the pages here myself. I cut them down just so I could get an idea of what I was working with before I invested all of this money for this company to print all these pages and cut them down for me. And so if you can, as much as possible, create a sample for yourself in whatever product it is you're thinking about. Order a sample from the company that you may be thinking of, and that will really give you an idea and really make it feel more real. If you're feeling kind of nervous to put that thing out there, this is something I recommend to a lot of my clients as well. Order it, You know, the sample doesn't have to be the final thing, but just to tangibly hold something that you created, it really just kind of gives you this different confidence, and it makes you really want to move forward and be like, okay, this is really happening. This is exciting. And so it's something I highly suggest for you as well, because it can be easy to kind of put it off in this phase, because it can get a little frustrating, especially if you're trying to figure out which route to go, who to work with and things. So really trying to just solidify and get that thing in your hand and hold, it really makes it worthwhile when you can do that. So just wanted to kind of throw that tip out there. And so from there, you'll have your sample, and that will give you an opportunity to see what needs to be better, and hopefully it'll give you an idea of when you actually want to get this product out to sell to other people. Kind of a target completion date, basically. When do you want this thing to actually be ready to go? So after that, we're going to get into the third P, which is packaging. And this is one of my favorite things, actually. So there's kind of two parts of the way I look at packaging. So you have your actual physical packaging that your product is going in. So if we're using a sticker kit, for example, you might put it in an envelope. That's what I put my stickers in. You might put it in a little plastic, like a little poly bag or something like that. So first of all, what is this thing going to be going in? As soon as it's done, it's created, what is it going inside of? So my planner went in a little plastic sleeve, and then that sleeve got wrapped in bubble wrap, and then that got wrapped in tissue paper. I had stickers, I had ribbon, and then I had my little kind of like clear lid retail box to go kind of keep it together and keep it safe and secure. And then it went inside of a box. So there was a lot of different packaging details and things. So you can get a lot of inspiration online to look for this, and kind of get a feel if you're not sure how you want it to be. The main thing is you want your product to get to people safely, you know, basically meaning that it's in the condition that you shipped it out to them, they're receiving it the same way. And you want to also let this be a representation of your brand. So especially if this is someone's first time kind of interacting with your brand, what can they expect? And the quality of your packaging really can help that. So even if it is something just very basic, just adding like a sticker or a ribbon or just something to it really does level that up. So really think about, what do you want the packaging to be like for this product? So when somebody receives it, they feel like, and then you fill in the blank with that one. And also remember, continue to be calculating your costs as you're dreaming up all this stuff as well, because all of these things will get factored into the total cost of the product. Okay, so then we move into pricing. So we really talked a lot about calculating up those costs. It's so important to calculate your costs, mainly because you want your business to make money, you want your product to be profitable, but the only way to do that is to be tracking everything and to know how much you're spending. So for me, if I'm going to use the planner as an example, and I'm going to be getting a lot more in depth in my next video for you guys next week, I'm going to be talking a lot more about what I learned. But specifically on pricing, what I will say is that when you go this handmade route versus if you go like a manufacturer route or like a bigger place that'll take care of it for you, like if you worked with a company, let's say like overseas or something like that, keep in mind that yes, you are eliminating the middleman in a way, but it still costs. Like it still costs. So for me, like my planner, the cost of my planner was still coming up to quite a bit, which made me had to kind of drive the price point up, which was fine because I knew that I was making this planner by hand and it was worth that. But as far as like the amount of money that could be made, it just kind of varies depending on what you're comfortable charging. So this really goes even more so back to who is your ideal customer, what are they willing to pay, things like that. But when you're really thinking of, okay, I'm looking at my costs, these are the hard costs of everything. This includes how much it's going to be to get something made from a company or the equipment I need to do it for myself, my shipping materials, my packaging materials, all of those things are included into this one big total cost, and that will really help you to figure out how much that's going to be. And so there's a lot of ways you can actually price your product. Some people will just mark it up 50%, like a 50% markup. Some people have a very specific way that they mark things up. The only biggest tip that I really will give you is no matter how you price it, just always make sure that you factor in how much it would be if it's on sale before it goes on sale. So then that way, you know, even if something goes on sale, you know you're not losing money. And then after that, the next P is pictures. So I am so big on product photography. I think it's important to not only talk about your product, but show people the product. And so you can showcase that off in photos, you can showcase it in videos. I did a whole series on my channel when I was getting ready to launch my planner all about how I was creating it. I brought people along with me, which is all about the whole just launching in general. But really think about how you can take your product and really bring people along in a way of showing them how they can physically use the product. So how can they use it in their day-to-day everyday life? You know, get photos of actual people using the product, get some pretty flat lays, you know, put it on a white background, whatever the case is, and get a ton of pictures. I mean, like, so many pictures. I have a whole video on product photography tips if you guys need some, and I'll make sure I link that up in the cards. But the main thing is that you want to make sure that you have a lot of pictures to choose from, so then that way you can continuously talk about it. Even after your launch period is over, you can still promote it. So pictures, you guys, you want to be able to promote it, and you want to do it in good lighting as well, because you just, again, you want to have the best light possible on your business. And all of these things is kind of like people's first introduction to your product. So you want to make sure that first introduction, that first post, that first video is a good one that makes them be like, ooh, let me kind of read about this a little bit more. I think I might want to purchase this one. Okay, so then the very last P is to provide. And this is broken down into 3 parts, which I have broken down into what I call FBI. So basically, FBI stands for features, benefits, and intention. So first of all, when you are selling anything, it's important to remember to lead with the benefits first of all. So I just want to kind of throw that out there. And we're going to talk about that second. That's always really going to be like the top tier, but I mean, FBI, y'all, like I had to kind of like do F first. So we'll come back to benefits, but just kind of keep that in mind that benefits is really the #1 thing. So features is really the just kind of physical things that you can see when you look at something. So if I'm going to talk about my planner, for example, okay, it's a silver wire O binding, hardcover. It's got silver corners on it, 300 something pages. I think it's like 70-pound paper. What else? I'm trying to just think of it, like a matte cover. So these are all things that just from looking at the planner, you can tell just straight up, you know, like what it looks like, what it's made out of, different things like that. So this is the very, like I said, the physical stuff that people can see and give them an idea of like, how much is it gonna weigh? How big is it? Things like that. Then you get into the benefits. This is what's really going to sell people and really make people actually want to purchase the product. So the features is kind of like a bonus, and it's like, oh, okay, it's got that many pages. Okay, cool. Oh, it's hardcover. That's nice. But you want to sell them on the benefits. And so think about, how is this product really going to help someone in their life? What void is it going to fill for them? More specifically, you know, how can they bring it along with them in their life every day? Especially if you're thinking about it in terms of this stationary world. Really think about the joy that it might bring to someone, or the organization that it might bring to someone. How will it make their life easier? These are all questions to ask in order to figure out what those benefits are, and it'll really allow for you to create a lot more of a, not only a better launch plan and things like that, but it'll give you a better way to attract your audience to the product, because you'll know specifically those pain points that they have and how it can tie back into them actually wanting to use the product. And there's so many ways you can do this, but it's just important that you do really get a feel for the benefits and how it's going to really help them. And then the last part is the intention. And this is really important. It kind of goes back to a little bit, I kind of mentioned it with showing people, but the intention is really telling people how to use it. So even after people purchase my planner, they got it, I wanted to really give them the intention of how to use it, because I know, me being a consumer myself, there's times where I'll buy stuff, I'll be so excited, and I'll just want to know, like, okay, what do I write here? You know, or, ooh, what do I use this for? I need some examples. How can I use this? And so I see this so many times with businesses. They will actually lay out their sticker kits in different spreads of different types of planners. That's a great way to show people the intention of the product. Show them how they can use those stickers. If you have a planner, show them how they can plan with you. Plan with Muse. I did a whole series called My Foundation Week, where I literally walked them through how to use the planner and all the different pages in there, so that I'm giving the intention. And it's never to make somebody feel like they can't use it a different way if they want to, but it gives people that extra comfort of knowing that, okay, I purchased this product, I might need a little hand holding just to kind of see exactly how to use it, and then I can figure out for myself if I want to use it that way or not. But at least you're giving them a starting point. And so really think about how are people going to be using this product? What is the intended use of this, and how can I show this to people in as many ways as possible? And so I feel like I'm talking forever. That is pretty much it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this 6 P's of product creation. Let me know down below what is something that you've learned, or even more exciting, what is the product that you're thinking about creating? I would love to hear about it. If you haven't already, definitely make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.